The Adriti, some of the most brave and crazy guys that lived throughout the entirety of World War I on the Italian side. The concept of the Adriti originated in 1914, so-called the Explorer units to go behind enemy lines. Also with the companies of death, which would clear wire and barricades before assaults. These men were eventually led to the development of Adriti units whose job was to overrun enemy positions. The Adriti were also used originally manned solely by volunteers, only by the light infantry units and the units of the Alpini, which were the mountain troops. As the war went on and the casualties mounted, more and more soldiers were assigned to the Adriti units based on recommendations of their superiors. This was whether they wanted to be part of the Adriti or not. They had no choice. The Adriti generally had around 25 to 30% casualties per engagement, oftentimes getting little or no ground. For some units, the cost was much higher. One unit in 1916 was recorded as being completely wiped out in Monte Osvaldo. For the Adriti, winning was not an option. This is a key example of how strong the Adriti held to their ideals, which are stated in their motto: "We either win or we all die." Adriti were trained in an incredibly realistic environment, using live explosives that caused the deaths of many recruits before they even got to the battlefield. Most recruits were drawn from the light infantry and mountain troops, just as I said. Adriti were trained from a manual called the Flower of Battle, which contained hand-to-hand combat techniques developed in the Middle Ages. Adriti were thoroughly trained with grenades, machine guns, flamethrowers, and numerous marksmanship weapons, as well as knives. They loved their knives. Despite the importance and honor placed on the Adriti units, they were relatively lightly equipped. Adriti soldiers generally did not carry their rifles into battle, preferring to fight with only grenades and knives themselves. They would advance under the cover of their own artillery, while possibly being blown up in the process, sometimes losing large numbers to their own shells before even engaging the enemy. Adriti were considered to be the most effective during the war with the Austrians along the Piave River. Hit-and-run tactics, night raids, and all-out night assaults were launched by the Adriti along the Piave River. The Battle of Vittorio Veneto, otherwise known as the Battle of Piave River, took place from 24th of October to the 4th of November along the Piave River itself. The only major contribution / breakthrough made by the Adriti during the Great War. It was preceded by a failed Austro-Hungarian assault on the Italian defensive line that left them with 100,000 fewer men that they would have had otherwise, which gave the Adriti a perfect advantage. The Adriti were also used as runners during the battle and served key commanders throughout the battle themselves. While they were trying to attack the Austrians, they crossed the rivers while having the knives in their mouths and took them out single-handedly while slitting their throats. The Allied forces kept the pressure on the Austrians until the Austro-Hungarian state dissolved on October 31st, and the war was over.
I'm General Armando Diaz of the Italian armies along the Piave River. We were tasked with breaking through and destroying the Austro-Hungarian line, and I was in command of the forces that did it. We primarily used the Adriti in order to cause an initial break in the line, overrun the trenches, hold those trenches, and then receive support and be used as runners for the main army. They succeeded completely in doing so, taking the trenches initially, holding them until our main forces could arrive, performing their duties as runners, some of them even drowning in the Piave River, and then assisting in the assault on Monte Grappa. I would like to say that the Adriti and the Italian armies helped to end the Austro-Hungarian Empire, causing its demise and ultimate downfall.